So hello, everyone, here in person in the Catholic Pastoral Center and online. I want to welcome you to the annual Catholic Appeal training session for today. My name is Peter DeCaratry, and I'm the Executive Director of Stewardship and Development for the Archdiocese. And as of last week, I'm also the Executive Director of the Catholic Foundation of Oklahoma. So we double up on jobs around the church, you know. And so we have a big process of fundraising and parish support and capital campaigns and bequest giving, et cetera, for all kinds of different activities here in the Archdiocese. I want to thank you all for taking the time to come and the time to be online with us to learn about the annual appeal process this year. Lisa McKelvey is the Associate Director of Development for Annual Giving here in the Archdiocese, and she will lead the training session today. Lisa has been progressively having more and more responsibility for the annual appeal over the last several years and will run the appeal essentially going forward. I wanted to let you know that for the last 3 years, in 2020, 2019, 2018, we had the same goal, $3.6 million in the annual appeal. It was capped. This year, we've raised that goal slightly, and Lisa will talk more about this, but just know that over time, we will increase the goal over time in an effort to balance the diocesan budget more healthfully. Right now, we're very, very dependent upon investments and returns from investments. And so the idea here is that we would have both the ACDO, the Archdiocesan ACDO, the annual, help me remember the ACDO. It's the tax on parish offertory assessment for central diocesan operations. That's what it is. Don't know how they came up with that name, but it was a long time ago. But the ACDO is helps pay for the office of the bishop and the curial staff. But just remember that the annual Catholic Appeal and the ACDO and our other income sources basically fund the central function of the Archdiocese, which includes seminary and education. It includes catechetical formation for deacons, all the way down to the lay volunteer teaching second graders CCD. And everything in between. We also have the tribunal that many of our families take advantage of for the marriage tribunal, and lots of other issues that we deal with as a diocese and as a collective community of 60 parishes and 46 missions from here all the way to the Colorado border. The annual appeal has grown. I will tell you that we are one of 18 parishes in Region 10 of the Bishops' Conference. That includes 15 in Texas, 2 in Oklahoma, and 1 in Arkansas, so in our group. And in that group, we know of no other but diocese that has essentially made their goal in the last year through the pandemic and all of the other issues related to the oil and gas industry and the economy. But I'm very pleased and proud to tell you that this last year, the parishes of the diocese, the Archdiocese of Oklahoma City, stepped up in a very significant way. We have more than 20 parishes that exceeded their goal this last year, and our total went over goal. Our goal was 3.6 million, and we raised almost 3,750,000. So we did very well last year. And our goal for the coming year is about the same as what we raised last year. So we're very pleased. Lisa's going to talk a lot about the different types of changes that we've made to the appeal this year, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that any of you have as we go forward. But I just want to say thank you again and welcome Lisa McKelvey to come up and present your training today. Thank you.
Now I get to lower this without messing up the microphone. You still good, Avery? Okay. So as Peter mentioned, we have some people join us via Zoom, so I will be just checking with him a couple times on things. So we'll get started here. Technology didn't like me this morning, and there we go. So this is the 2021 poster, theme image, and our theme for this year. The theme came from, I turn to you, Lord, in time of trouble, is from the Psalm for Commitment Weekend on February 14th. not only is it tie in with the readings that week, it just was a very appropriate verse for this time in our world right now. And so when we were looking at this last fall, we're trying to think through what will fit. And, a lot of things can change from August to January and February. So you kind of have to think pretty broadly. And we knew that no matter how this year finished up and got started 2021, this would be very fitting. This image is actually from St. Francis of Assisi Parish here at Oklahoma City in the Bishop Mearshart Chapel. A wonderful young family from St. Francis agreed to be in the picture and just turn our focus back towards the Lord and the Eucharist and focus on Him despite all else this year. Quick agenda for the day. We will go through overview of the annual appeal this year, past years, where we've come from, where we're going, diocesan income and financial breakdowns, the specific dates for this year, a couple new topics, staff roles, the breakdowns of each weekend, return procedures, and key contacts here in our office. The annual appeal, as Peter mentioned, funds the ongoing operating expenses of the Archdiocese. Just like the offertory does for a parish, and just like you would continue the offertory through a capital campaign at the parish, we continue the annual appeal through the capital campaign and through the collection period of the capital campaign right now. Each year, gifts to support the annual appeal support ministries and programs serving people around the Archdiocese, especially programs and ministries that those who that no single parish could provide on their own, or most of our parishes could not provide on their own. We this past year did a thank you video. It was released online and via email on Thanksgiving Day with a message from Archbishop Coakley. That video is not dated in terms of there's no date in it. So it's something you can continue to use this year at your parishes to thank you for everyone for their gifts this past year and their gifts as they make their annual appeal gift. That video is available both in English and Spanish, and you can download it on the Archdiocesan website and upload it to your pages, or you link from the Archdiocesan YouTube page. Each year we focus on a select number of ministries to highlight. We highlighted those ministries in the brochure that was received with letter 1. It's also in the in-pew flyer. It's on each one of our materials. The reality is, if we were to put every ministry that the diocese, that the annual appeal helps fund at the diocese, no one would read past bullet point 2 or 3 because it'd be a 3-page long paper. So we just want to focus on 6 key areas. Those this year being youth, young adult, and campus ministry, adult faith formation. This is everything from the Formed platform to the diaconate candidates to RE directors, religious education in Catholic schools, marriage and family life programs, Respect Life ministry, and parish support. The parish support element is a lot of related to the rebate program that was initiated that I'll talk more about here in a few minutes, but also things like this past year, we provided masks and hand sanitizer and pew cleaner and shields for our teachers in all of our schools and our pastors. So those things all are funded. We did have some very generous donors who helped us out with those, but those are also all funded through the annual appeal. When we're talking about the annual appeal at parishes, we want to remind people why they should give. And it's not, it's not just you should give because someone asked you to, but you should give because this is part of our role as Catholics. We're all connected. Each parish is not an island. We're all part of the Archdiocese. And the stewardship of time, talent, and treasure is a key part of our Catholic identity. Another thing with this is when you're talking to parishioners and when your pastor is talking from the pulpit of the annual appeal, this is a time to show being a joyful giver, not be someone who gets up and says, if we talk about the annual appeal this weekend and we hit our goal, we'll never have to talk about it again for another year. That's not a very joyful, fun, that doesn't exude confidence, that doesn't exude being a cheerful giver and stewardship of time, talent, treasure. So just keep those things in mind as you're talking about the appeal at your parish. The annual appeal goal this year, as Peter mentioned, is 3.75 million. That will continue to go up over the next several years incrementally. The reality is we have a very unbalanced budget with $2 million coming from parish assessment on offertory and nearly $5 million of an $11 million budget coming from investment income. This is not healthy. This is not good. did cause some scary moments last March and April. So we are working towards balancing this better. That's why the annual appeal is going up. That's also why we, as the stewardship office, are here to help with parish offertory. If you don't have online giving, or if you don't have a parish website, or if you need help with online giving, we're here to help. There is, depending on how everything starts back up and when people are actively returning to mass and whatnot, we are looking at doing some sort of an offertory renewal program for all parishes. We don't know a timeline on that, but that definitely is in mind, because we recognize that helping parishes increase offertory will help balance the Dawson budget as well, and help our parishes be more financially stable overall. But this is a key thing to keep in mind when you ask, why is the annual appeal going up? Because we have to increase to balance everything a little bit more in a healthy manner. Overview of this past year, as Peter mentioned, we have received $3.72 million on the annual appeal. We did have committed over $3.9 million. Some of those commitments were made later in the year and were 10-month pledges, so those have not been fulfilled yet. We expect many of those to be fulfilled, but we recognize that once the 2021 appeal has started, some of those people are going to stop paying on their 2020 pledges and start their 2021. This has led to a couple of changes with how we ask for pledges this year, and I'll get more into that, but we're no longer asking for that 10-month pledge. Someone can, but we have worded that a little bit differently, and we'll talk more about that. This was the first year since 2017 that we have reached our goal. This is the first year since Peter and I have been here that we've reached our goal, and the most we've raised in comparison, especially through the capital campaign. Of the 56,000 households we solicit and that received mail from us, we had almost 9,000 respond. 16% is not where we'd like to be. Our internal goal is to have every parish and the archdiocese at about 25% participation of the annual appeal. That's only one in four households. It'd be great if we were at 50% participation, but we recognize we're going to have to start growing that a little bit. Average gift this past year was $441, with 38 parishes going over goal in pledges. Comparing that to the last 3 years, the average gift has gone up. The number of donors is back to a level pre-capital campaign level, and our donor number is up, but our participation's down because we did add 10,000 records into our database through the capital campaign. People that had registered the parish but never got the annual appeal, or never were receiving the Sooner Catholic and whatnot. That mailing list for Sooner Catholic is the same mailing list that we used for the annual appeal. So any changes, updates you ever have from your parish, we gladly will take those. We want those updates. That we have a person on our staff who works specifically to make those roster updates, especially when we're talking about someone who has passed away. We don't want to be mailing them letters. So any updates you have that can help us keep this number more accurate would be great. Over the past 7 years, back in 2013, they were raising about $3.1 million, even 2016 raising just under $3 million. So over the course of 7 years, increasing $600,000-700,000 is great. It's a big testament to the work you guys are doing at your parishes and the work that everyone's doing across the archdiocese. Last year and this year, but last year, these are the numbers from 2020. Letter 1 was mailed at the end of December. We mail this then for those who want to take advantage of having 2 years worth of gifts in one tax year. So if you're ever like, why does the diocese mail this so early? It's for those people who need to make 2 years worth of gifts in one tax year. So that was mailed in late December. We raised $1.7 million from that letter. That typically is our highest netting solicitation effort, and an average gift of $600,000. The NPU process was completed just before everything kind of started going crazy last year, and we had 4,000 gifts from that with $1 million raised. We recognize this is probably not going to be what we're seeing this year. We actually only ordered a quarter of what we normally order in NPU materials. That's why you're all getting 1 box compared to some of our parishes typically walk out of here with 4 boxes each year. We ordered a quarter of what we used in the past year, and we're doing a number of different initiatives changing this year. One of those is that the Sooner Catholic, which should be arriving in your mailbox today, has an envelope almost identical to your in-pew envelope. There's just a hidden code on here saying Sooner Catholic. The reason for that is we recognize that a lot of people are not back in the pews yet. And so when Father talks about this on the live stream next weekend and the weekend after, they've got this envelope to fill out and mail in that they normally would have been doing in pew. So they can follow right along, and this goes to every household. We also are sending the pastor letter 2 ahead of schedule. Normally we send that after Easter. That is coming out here within the next 2 to 3 weeks to coincide with commitment and follow-up weekend, when they're hearing their pastor talk about the appeal and then also receiving a letter from their pastor. Online gifts have increased over the past several years. Last year in 2020, we received over 850 gifts online. The previous year, we were somewhere around 450. So that nearly doubled over the course of a year. This is proof that if you don't have online giving at your parish yet, you need it. Let us help you. Let us get that set up. People are willing to give online. They're going online to give, and they are giving. Online giving is our second highest average gift when those come in. So behind the letter from Archbishop Coakley, online gifts are that next largest gift. So if you're not set up with online giving, or if you're set up but you have very few and need help broadening that, please let us know. Also on this mailing, the third highest one happened to be last year, the Libont mailing. That's sometimes it's a Libont, sometimes it's letter 2. The Libont mailing is last year, but unfortunately not yet this year. That mailing we sent out last year in late May. That's why it was so successful. Everything was starting to kind of rebound, open back up at the end of, people are feeling a little more confident in May and June of this past year. So that's when we mailed that, and that was quite successful. Another key thing to note here is letter 2 from the pastor versus letter 2 from Archbishop Coakley. So if the pastor decides not to send and sign that follow-up mailing, we do send a second letter from Archbishop. But everyone's already gotten a letter from Archbishop, and sometimes some people would rather hear from their pastor than from Archbishop Coakley, especially those in communities that are farther away from the metro. They would rather hear directly from their pastor than from the Archbishop. And so that's evident within this $50 average gift jump between Archbishop's letter 2 and the pastor's letter 2. In pew appeal and then the envelopes in Sooner Catholic both bring in still relatively high average gifts. Parish goals this year were established based on that $11 million Archdawson budget. We take that and we take everyone's average of the 3-year offertory, take that percent of their percent of the total offertory times the 3.75 million to come up with their goal based on offertory. If they raised more the previous year through September 30th, through the end of quarter 3, if more was raised at the parish than their offertory fair share number, then we apply a 2.25% increase on their giving, on their goal for the next year. That 2.25% increase, first off, helps make sure that their goal is higher than what they raised, but it also does typically balance out with what that parish would raise at end of year giving. We do get a lot of gifts at end of year, and so that typically balances out. One change this year was if a parish had an offertory goal that was less than $5,000 and they went over goal, we did not charge them the 2.25% increase. We kept their offertory goal. For this reason is if you have a parish that has a goal of $2,000, they raise $2,300, you put a 2.25% increase, now suddenly they're at $2,505, and that rounds up to $3,000. Now they've really had a 33% bump on their goal versus only a minimal bump on what they raised. Goals, as always, are aspirational, not mandatory, but we ask you to give a good faith effort to use the materials, to put up the posters, to work through the appeal, to have Father make a direct ask from the pulpit, not just leave these in a car trunk, forget about it, and oh well, the annual appeal's done. Put a good faith effort, and then those goals will never have to be mandatory. Over the past couple years, we've seen a good increase on parish goal achievements. 38 parishes reached their goal this year in pledged gifts. About 28 of those reached their goals in collected and then received a check, just like Father did the day that was the check. Those we got those today from the business office and are trying to deliver those to the parishes that went over goal and are getting their 50-50 rebate back. The good news this past year was that parishes not reaching 50% of goal was half of what it was previously. So that is a great, that tells us that parishes are using the materials and the materials are working. Most of the parishes that reached goal this past year hit their goal, and they did it by using the materials, putting up the posters, and having pastor sign the letter. I can almost always tell you that the parishes that don't have pastor sign the letter, they don't hit goal. It's almost line in line with that. Everyone's always asking about One Church Many Disciples. The people from Moore drive by it all the time. They can probably give a better update than I can. But their steel work is actively going on, and the live cam is up on the website during the day. So check that out. $91 million was collected or committed. And as of last week, we reached 55 million in collected. Two key points with this. 55 million was initially the original goal of the capital campaign. So it's great that 2 years past finishing up that campaign, we have collected over what we initially had our goal at. And number two is that shows 55, if you were to take 91 divided by 5, you would not be sitting at 55 when you factor in 2.5 years of pledge collections. People are ahead of paying on their pledge. They're paying off pledges early. Some major gifts have been completely paid in full, including the largest gifts to the campaign. So people are paying their gifts off, they're paying them early. That's great. And that's been very helpful to move construction along. The donor number here is another key point. That's 13,000 donors that are here within the Archdiocese, committed to the work of the Archdiocese and committed to the ministry of the Archdiocese. The annual appeal, we only have 9,000 donors. There's a $4,000 donor discrepancy here. These are the key people that we need to be actively engaged with as we move forward on the annual appeal. These people are people who are not giving currently to the annual appeal and could be giving. They have a capacity to give through One Church Many Disciples. And so these are the people that we want to be talking to increase participation at the parish level. Okay, I'm going to show you the 2021 video. Avery, do I just show it or? Okay, sorry, gotta love technology here.
As we look back on the year filled with uncertainty, let us reflect on God's beauty at work throughout the Archdiocese of Oklahoma City.
The healing power of Jesus Christ is impacting the lives of those around us in new and profound ways.
We turn to God in prayer to find hope in the midst of a crisis, a healing hand in time of trouble.
Through your generosity to the annual Catholic Appeal, we've made a difference in the lives of so many Oklahomans, sharing the good news of Jesus Christ and his reassurance that we are not alone.
Now, as we turn our attention to the future, we know God will continue to bless the many ministries created and sustained through your faithful giving to the annual Catholic Appeal.
Your generous gifts help bolster the faith of college students,
Educate and encourage the next generation of priests and Catholic leaders,
and enrich families across the Archdiocese in parishes large and small.
You can see God working through these gifts at a place like St. Thomas More University Parish near the campus of the University of Oklahoma,
where tomorrow's leaders strengthen their faith through retreats, Bible studies, and a vibrant fellowship of Catholic University students.
Your support enables tomorrow's priests, seminarians, deacons, moms, dads, and catechists to hear and accept their call to ministry,
and ensures the good news is spread across campus through student-led evangelization efforts.
God is at work through faith formation and programs like the Blessed Stanley Rother Leadership Institute, which trains and equips tomorrow's catechists and educators with support from the annual Catholic Appeal.
Faith formation for children of all ages occurs in Catholic churches around the Archdiocese, where parishioners help kids grow in their faith and lay a solid foundation for a grace-filled life.
Along with teaching the Catholic faith to youth, your gift to the annual Catholic Appeal supports and engages their families with the help of counseling through marriage preparation and enrichment programs.
Your giving keeps families strong and committed to their faith, raising children who will follow in their footsteps for generations to come.
God is at work all around us, and your sacrificial gift to the annual Catholic Appeal makes that mission happen.
As Catholics, we have a unique opportunity to bring truth, joy, mercy, and light into a world of strife and division. Psalm 32 says, I turn to you, Lord, in time of trouble. So today, let us faithfully turn to Jesus Christ to fill us with hope and perseverance, and to remind us what truly matters in our journey to everlasting life. In the days ahead, we must unite our common purpose as a church to go and make disciples, using our God-given talents and gifts to support these life-affirming ministries. Through the financial support of the annual Catholic Appeal, we will bring the light of Jesus Christ into communities throughout the world. I invite you to prayerfully consider a gift to this year's annual Catholic Appeal. Together, we will strengthen families, prepare future priests, educate dedicated Catholic leaders for ministry, and encourage university students to grow in their faith. Thank you for all you do for your families, your parishes, and for the church in Oklahoma. May God bless you as we shine the light of Jesus Christ in the world.
Okay, technology likes me. So that is the 2021 video. It's available for download on the Archdiocesan page website with all the documents. It's available in English and Spanish. It's on YouTube as well. Please use it. Please make use of it, whether it's in your Flocknote system or in email or however you communicate with parishioners. It's a great video. We've got them, available in both languages for you to use. Okay, changes for 2021. The increased goal this year, as Peter mentioned, we're going to slowly increase that over the next several years. We weren't going to come out and say the annual goal is now $5 million, but a $5 million goal is not out of the question over the next several years, ultimately getting to that point to help balance that budget. Parish rebates are new for 2020. They did exceptionally well. We had a lot of parishes that did much better in the appeal this year and are receiving a lot of money from those. Some receiving as much as about $23,000 down to a couple hundred, all for use in their parish. A number of our parishes were able to take care of some things this year that they hadn't planned on. One of our parishes is using their funds from this past year for the massive bill they had from the ice storm, and then is with their upcoming rebate for 2021 that their goal is to achieve, they're going to be creating a fund in their budget for ongoing natural disaster cleanup, because they had no preparation or plan for that. And that's something that after one thing after another in Oklahoma, they wanted to prep for. So with that, we launched 25 parish websites. Those parish websites are for the top 25 parishes. If you have a goal of over $60,000, your parish should have a parish website. Those are just a place that it's something that the pastor has an easier URL to say, can direct their parishioners there. And typically those places are the places that are working towards a higher goal and thus a higher rebate. And so they have bigger projects they're working towards achieving. So we're going to put some updates there. If it works, if they get a lot of traffic, we'll continue it for more parishes next year. We just weren't about to endeavor on 107 separate parish websites year one. But if it works, we'll expand that next year. If it doesn't work, then if we're going to try anything, it's going to be 2021. It's my plan. If we're going to try it, we'll try it this year. Continuing this year, offsite gift processing. We've been doing this for a number of years for the annual appeal, and this was how the capital campaign pledges were processed. Everything offsite, secure, Catholic, and directly into our bank account. That's the number one question we always get is, well, how many bank accounts does it transfer before from my money before it gets into the Archdiocese? They deposit directly into an account for us. There's no middleman. They essentially just work for us, but it's a way that we can use our resources more wisely and make sure more dollars go towards ministry. Those rebates, similar to One Church Many Disciples, 50% of those dollars collected over goal will be returned to local parish projects. $99,000 is being given away for the 2020 appeal. That was a wonderful number to start out with, and we've actually already got a parish that's over goal this year already. So these rebates are very helpful to the parishes that received them this year, and we hope to give away a lot more money next year through those. The success of the appeal depends a lot on the leadership of the parish. A strong leadership team is beneficial. We don't want this to all fall on Father. Inevitably, something happens Saturday afternoon before the appeal. Father has to go make a house call or a hospital visit, and now the envelopes and pens didn't get in the pews, and no one remembered to sell out the bulletin inserts, and the ushers don't know what they're doing. This is why you're here or joining us online, so you can help out Father. We want to make this as easy as possible for him. What we're asking the pastor to do is prepare for the appeal weekends, guide the NPU process, talk about the appeal, and lead your parish in praying for a successful appeal. The appeal chair can be an individual or couple who can help Father articulate the message of the appeal, give a witness talk on announcement weekend after communion, and state why they're giving, or how your gifts and their gifts are going to impact your parish directly. Some great witness talks in the past have been, a wife and husband, and the husband's in the diaconate formation program. They can talk about the education and training they're receiving and how they're going to be able to serve once they complete the program. It could be the RE director talking about the education she receives. It could be someone who's discerning and the resources they've gotten from the diocese. It could be someone who's had to use the tribunal and the healing process of the tribunal and being able to reconcile and remarry and have that healing process. Any number of things. Your parish, what would work and what would be good to talk about, but those are some things. The schedule for this year, the letter 1 from Archbishop Coakley was mailed to all households. It actually mailed right before Christmas. The post office was nice to us. It was scheduled for a week later, but somehow we ended up before Christmas mail. I have no idea how it worked out. Pre-announcement weekend, the weekend we call this past weekend pre-announcement weekend. That is just a weekend to, it's kind of a buffer weekend. We have a couple parishes who sometimes have to shift the weekends. It also is a chance if you want to use, want to put up the posters early, you can, but this coming weekend is announcement weekend, and we'll go ahead and start with posters the follow-up weekend. In there, the week of the 8th, most likely is when the pastor letter will mail. It can take a week or two for those to hit households, but that'll start arriving between the 8th and the 14th. And then the 14th commitment weekend and the 21st follow-up weekend. The announcement weekend, this is the time to put up the posters in the pews, use the prayers of the faithful, and hand out the flyers. Couple changes this year with the poster. And for those of you online, just listen to me. Once you get your posters, you'll totally understand. They're as always in English one side, Spanish the other. The original poster, similar to last year, about the Archdiocese at the bottom, the goal image, the theme, and then the theme image on that. What we added this year, a number of dioceses have had success with this, is a goal chart that you can color in and put your parish goal on it. Some of our parishes have already told me they're not going to use it. Some of them told me this would be really helpful for their parish to see how they're doing. You could even track participation on here if you wanted to. Let me know what you use in March and April. I'll be following up with all of our parish administrative contacts, find out what worked for you, what you used, and that'll help us determine which direction to go next year. There are 4 posters in every tube. If you need more posters, please let me know. We definitely have them. The Bulletin inserts, what I've commonly called the bulletin inserts, looks like this. Last year was on a bit thinner sheet of paper. This year, we did print it on thicker, recognizing a lot of parishes are not using bulletins right now. This way, it can be handed out directly as people leave church. It can be placed on the table right next to the offertory basket, if that's how you're taking a collection up. It's a great thing for people to take home with them and remember, oh yeah, next weekend's that week I got to bring my checkbook, or I need to bring my credit card next weekend, or I should go ahead and go online because the URL is down here as well. So these are all available. They're in here. If you need more, let me know. The other great thing these are for is for commitment weekend. If you're using baskets at the back of church, have one basket for the annual appeal, one for the capital camp, or one for your offertory, and tape this to the back of the basket for the annual appeal. Then everybody knows this is their annual appeal gift basket. We will have an optional homily letter from Archbishop Coakley that can be read. That will be sent out over email later this week as an option. You can include that in your announcements or with your homily this year. Parish appeal chair can talk about why they give. Ministry flyers, use the appeal prayer. The prayer cards in there are the Angelus prayer. It's a prayer we picked last year to use. A lot of parishes have St. Michael prayers, or the Hail Mary and the Our Father are very common on prayer cards. We wanted to introduce people to another prayer, and we wanted to use the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe, Star of the New Evangelization, which Archbishop Coakley consecrated the diocese to a year ago, December, at the convocation. So we wanted to use Marian prayer, and that's the one we picked. Plenty of prayer cards in each of your boxes, English and Spanish. We have plenty more. If this is something that your parish really gravitates towards, please let us know. We're happy to get you more prayer cards. Commitment weekend, this is the weekend that the pressure's on Father to ask, make that ask for the appeal. This is the weekend of success. This is the weekend we want the in-pew cards in the pews before Mass. We want the pens in the pews before Mass, and you're going to ask for a gift of support. I know everyone right now is worried about who touches what. So one-time use, no one else needs to touch this. Have the ushers put them where people are sitting. Don't put them at the ends of the pews and expect people to pass them down. If you've got, okay, this is a seat, this is not a seat, this is a seat. Put them one per seating section, because in theory, that's one per household. Put them out before Mass. Ushers' hands are sanitized, so then this should be clean by the time people do get them. Put out the pens. There's plenty of pens in your boxes. We have plenty of pens. They can take the pen home with them. I don't mind. The pen actually has the Archdiocese Giving website, which takes them to the parish parish giving as an offertory reminder as well. Put these out. Walk through the appeal. Give people time to fill this out. When Father walks through the appeal script, which we have provided for you in the book, walk through the appeal script, give people time, whether it's music, whatever, give people time to fill this out, and then take a collection on it. If you use the baskets with arms, you can take a collection right there, or have a separate basket from your offertory for those cards. The reason we ask for a separate basket is we know there are people who are going to throw in a check written to Catholic Church or coins or cash into that basket. Those gifts that are meant for the annual appeal, if you may do something, Avery. Okay. Always want to check technology. If those cash gifts are just thrown into the offertory basket, then those end up in offertory, and someone then calls us the next January and goes, well, I dropped 20 bucks in the cash basket at church for the annual appeal. Why isn't it on my tax letter? We didn't know. It's probably on their parish tax letter. On the note with tax letters, they're in the mail. They, in my mailbox, I got mine this morning. So for anyone wondering, they're in the mail today. And collect all of those gifts. Continue with this, remind people how the annual appeal impacts the archdiocesan, the archdiocesan efforts, and it directly impacts their parish. And send out the ACA video. You can send it out Friday as a reminder to bring their checkbook, or you can send it out Sunday for those who need a reminder to go give online. To reduce costs, we have options for paying via ACH, automatic debit from their bank account or credit card. On the forms this year, there is something new. Traditionally, you've seen the top of the form, it says my monthly gift or my 10-month pledge gift. This year it says my monthly gift and gives two options. Either that monthly gift through December of 2021 or until I ask you to stop. This is two things here. We are wanting to encourage people to get used to giving money to the church every month, both to the parish and to the archdiocese. A monthly recurring gift reduces costs for us. It reduces mail. They will not receive as much mail from us. They will not receive reminder statements from us. That's automatic monthly credit card or direct debit. A monthly gift through December 21 eliminates the 10-month pledges running over into January, February, March. So versus making a 10-month pledge in May and still having payments in January and February, and oh yeah, you've already started your 2021 pledge, so now you're paid double in January, February. We're encouraging people to make that monthly gift either ongoing or ending it their last month being December, no matter how many months that makes it for them depending on when they give. With recurring gifts, the average length of a recurring gift is 7 years without editing, without changing, especially on direct debits. You know, your bank information rarely changes. A credit card might change every 4 years with an update, but recurring gifts last much longer. They're more sustainable. And if someone gives a recurring gift, they'll receive one letter from us in 2022. That letter will be Archbishop Coakley saying, thank you for your annual appeal gift. Thank you for your support last year, your monthly gift of $50 a month. If you are able and would be willing to increase your gift this year, great. If not, and you don't need to update your payments, you need to do nothing. And that's the last letter they'll get. They won't get the pastor letter. They won't get the live month follow-up. They won't get anything else. They will just get that one letter. That is the direction we're hoping to go. We had 200 people join with recurring gifts last year. We have a group called the Stewards of the Archbishop Circle. It's people who donate, who have a monthly recurring gift, specifically those with a monthly gift over $100 a month. But we had over 200 people join with recurring gifts last year. We have thus far already had 65 new recurring gifts sign up within the first month of the year. Those recurring gifts, people are liking it just like they give to their parish monthly. They're liking the option to give to the diocese. If anyone has any questions, myself and Steven Zaborowski are happy to help them with that in the office. If it's something they want to call us and set up, they can do that as well. Follow-up weekend, you do not need to do the full appeal script, but we do ask that you make sure envelopes are in the pews, pens are in the pews, and you do mention and give people a chance to find that envelope and fill it out if they want to. You know, in normal years, not everybody makes it to their regular parish every weekend. This weekend, I wasn't at my regular parish. I was at a different parish at a completely different time. But especially this year, we recognize that not everyone is making it in the pews every weekend, even those people who are going back to Mass at this point. So follow-up weekend gives a chance to ask them for their support and again, emphasize, you know, your participation number for your parish. In your boxes, and for those of you online, if you have not received your materials yet, I am working on delivering materials to you all. I will be doing a lot of deliveries tomorrow, so if at the end of the day tomorrow you have not received your materials, please email stewardship@archokc.org and we will schedule a delivery for you guys. So you have your training manuals. Please take at least 2 or 3 of these binders. Especially if you have a mission parish. We don't want Father to not make it to one of the churches without a binder. So please take as many as you have churches. You can leave one at each site then. I do want to point out in the training binder, on the appeal script, which you would think by now I would have this memorized of where everything is. It's on page 26. There's a big yellow box in the middle of that script. That yellow box is where Father will talk about how the appeal directly impacts the parish. So please make sure that your pastor has looked at this before the weekend when he's talking about this, because I do not want Father to be up there reading the script for the first time and go, in our parish, these funds will be used towards blank. So please look at this ahead of time. If you're the parish administrative contact, please point that out to Father. Make sure he is well prepared for that blank. You can write on the sheet of paper, make your notes, whatever. You have your posters. You have your bulletin inserts. Again, English and Spanish on posters, bulletin inserts, and in pew cards. These are envelopes. You can tear off the piece, put it in the envelope. And then you have the Tyvek security envelopes, same things we've been using for 4 years of the annual appeal and 2 years of the capital campaign. Same thing, same process. If you don't have enough or if you run out, please call me. I will send you more. With these, our goal is to properly record, acknowledge, and thank these people for their gifts in a timely manner. This is only possible by you sending in those envelopes in a timely fashion. Please send in all of those envelopes, send in all gifts you receive relatively quickly. Theoretically, the next 4 weekends, you should be sending me one of these every Monday. Even if it has 5 envelopes in it, please send it. This past year, we got an envelope about, oh gosh, May 15th. And the reason I know that no one had given gifts the weekend before was because we didn't actually have mass. So I've been sitting in somebody's usher closet for 2 months since we had mass, and somebody forgot to mail it before everything shut down. So those people's gifts hadn't been thanked. They had gotten 2 follow-up letters now. And if they had a monthly gift, their monthly payments hadn't started. So please, please, please send these. I would much rather you send 2 or 5 or 1 envelope even than to have these sit in an usher box or usher closet for 2 months and us not get anything. If you run out of those, I have more. I have boxes of them in our office. Please let me know. I'll send them to you. 4 types of gifts that you're going to get are loose cash and coins, checks without envelopes, sealed pledge envelopes, and completed pledge envelopes without completed pledge cards without envelopes. Loose cash and coins, this is how we know if a parish does take that separate collection, because someone's going to throw cash in there, decash all of that, deposit it into your parish bank account, and give us a check back written to the annual appeal. We will credit your parish with that money, with those gifts. But that's how we know if you're taking up a separate collection. If it's a sealed envelope, do not open these. There is a what's called PCI compliance, payment card industry. If this envelope were to get opened at a parish and that person that opened it was not trustworthy and they took the credit card information and used that, and when that person marked their credit card now as having a fraudulent charge, they could trace that incident of the fraud being caused by someone opening these envelopes at a parish. That puts the parish liable, that puts the pastor liable, that puts the archdiocese liable. This isn't a good situation. For every instance of fraud that could be tracked back to this, it could be up to a $250,000 charge for every single instance of fraud. And we all have had our cards hacked to know it's not just one instance. So if this is sealed, don't open it. If this portion has been torn off and has a credit card especially on it and is not in an envelope, find an envelope, put it in it, seal it. We don't want this going through the mail without these being in a second envelope so they're not, someone can't stick it up to the light and see through it. So please make sure those get in an envelope, sealed shut, and are in the mail. There are transmittal forms in each of the binders. You can just include that there. Key thing with that being, this is, which parish this is from. Of course, we're asking everybody to put their parishes on their cards, and if they've given before, we typically know their parish unless they've moved. But having that form in there helps us know, okay, this is St. Andrew Moore, because if someone writes St. Andrews, we don't actually necessarily know which St. Andrews if they write that and they haven't told us what parish they go to. It's especially important for all the Sacred Hearts and St. Joseph's and St. Mary's of the Archdiocese. Very important for those. Confirm all items are in your return mailer with your parish name and city, and seal the envelope and mail it to the Connecticut processing office. These are already, like I said, postage paid. You don't have to pay it. Please send them as quickly as possible. Please thank your parishioners for giving. While you thank them for giving, you do not need to deal with the tax receipts. Do not put their gifts into your database. We will handle tax documentation. Those gifts will go into our database, but do please thank them publicly. It's great when the pastor or the appeal chair or gets up and says, thank you to the 18% of our parish who has helped us reach 75% of our goal. We're hoping to reach 100% of our goal with 25% of our parish. If you haven't yet given, please give. This is another thing you can always include in your bulletin or in your online communications. Every person who donates will receive a thank you letter from Archbishop Copley. Those are actually going on a new envelope. It's a smaller, it's called Monarch. It's about 2/3 of the size of a regular envelope. It has Archbishop's coat of arms on it. We want those to stand out a little bit. It's a thank you letter. We don't want someone to think it's another ask letter and not open it. So those do look a little new and different this year. Weekly parish progress reports are posted each week on archokc.org/appeal. If you go on the appeal website, you've got the giving buttons and then the videos and then those links. There is both the final 2020 report, which you can look at what your parish participation was last year, as well as the weekly updates this year. That documents page has the report split up and the documents split up. So you can compare to where you were this time last year, how you're doing this year. Those reports, again, do have a new column this year with total households. So if you get on there and see, oh, the diocese thinks we have 1,000 households and we have 750. We've got some people that you don't think should be attributed to you. Please reach out to us. We'll get you a copy of the roster and we will start working through that and getting updates from between the two entities. I will also be sending out, hopefully on a monthly basis, a full roster to the pastor with information on who has given this year, who has not given but gave last year, who has not given but gives to One Church Made Disciples. This would be a way that Father or other people he selects in the parish can follow up with people who have not yet given and encourage them to give, especially as you reach closer to your goal. April 25th, 26th, that weekend is a great midpoint mark before we launch into communications campaign or seminarian appeal or Catholic Charities. It's a great chance to give a update from the pulpit. Give, if you are way below goal and want to put a good faith effort and run the appeal again and put those envelopes back in the pews, you can do that weekend. You could also take a second collection in May, June timeframe if that's something you want to do. We had a parish this past year that Father sent a specific letter that he hand signed to the 100 households who hadn't yet given that year but had given before. We're happy to supply the reply cards and envelopes for that if that's a project you want to do. It's up to you, but we're here to help, and we're here to help you reach your appeal goal. Tips for success: be happy, be smiling, be positive, use all the materials, good homily and parish announcements, report the parish progress, use those Friday updates. I know that by us doing them on Friday, then you get it Monday, and then it's typically too late for that next week's bulletin, so maybe it's 2 weeks delayed. But it's still an update, and that's something you can do regularly. Promote all 3 weekends, use announcement weekend with the bulletin inserts, use the commitment weekend, do a follow-up weekend. A lot of parishes do week 1 and 2 and don't do a follow-up weekend, and that's a big miss for them. Do all 3 weekends. That's very, very helpful to reaching goal. Talk about this as a sign of stewardship for the parish, support of the parish and the archdiocese working together. Encourage making that monthly recurring gift. Use the annual appeal prayer and the prayers of the faithful right in the binder. You all met Peter earlier today. And again, I am Lisa. Steven Zaborowski is the Associate Director of Development for Gift Planning. He also manages our database. He's the person getting all of the calls today when someone thinks their tax letter is wrong. So if you have a donor that has a question or they're confused about what charges they have or any number of gift questions, he also handles all gifts of stock or IRA distributions. Those are easy ways many people can give more than they normally would to something. And many times they can give an annual appeal and an offertory gift through their IRA. And that's very beneficial for them for tax purposes. And it helps support the archdiocese and the parish. Alyssa is our development coordinator for Catholic schools. Teresa is one of our 2 administrative assistants. She handles all of our parish rosters. So this is the person that if you need to notify us of weddings, funerals, updates, any number of changes, this is who you want to talk to. She can help you. We ask that if a parish can get into a regular routine system of sending us updates, that's the most beneficial. We send out the Sooner Catholic and we get the kickback returns from those on addresses or deceased, but sometimes those kickbacks sit at the post office for 2 months, and we've mailed 10 things between the time we mail that and the time we get the thing back. So we want to make sure these people get their thank you notes. We want to make sure they get their Sooner Catholic. We want to make sure that we're sending a letter to the correct people. This is very helpful. It's always a bad thing when you send a letter from Father to John and Sue, and Sue just passed away, and Father buried Sue. So Father knows that Sue just passed away, but here's a letter that's done by our office, and just because we didn't know that Sue had passed away. So those updates are always very beneficial. And then Sue Novotny is our other administrative assistant. She's here in our office. She's probably who called you asking you about what training you were coming to. So this phone number is our general office phone number and our general office email. That gets to all 7 of us. And whichever one of us it applies to, we will answer your questions. Oh, I forgot to mention, Miguel Morales is the Associate Director of Development for the Shrine. He also is a fluent Spanish speaker, so he is able to answer questions from our Hispanic community and talk to them about the appeal. He actually runs the trainings in Spanish for those parishes. So if that's something you need, he is the person to ask. And then the appeal website should have everything you need. If there's something you can't find, call me. Happy to get it for you, happy to help, be a resource as much as I can. What questions? Any here in person? Avery, any questions on chat? No questions. That's easy. Like I said, we're here to help. We want to see our parishes succeed. We were very happy with how Giving Tuesday and encouraging people to make additional gifts to parish offertory went with social media graphics. So if there's anything we can be a resource to you, please do. As Peter mentioned, he's now in the Catholic, he's the executive director of the Catholic Foundation. They have a number of grants throughout the year that they give away. You can apply for. The current one is Pastoral Music and Fine Arts. So if there is something that you need help with at your parish, the Catholic Foundation has a number of grants that have been given through endowments that have been around for a long time. So please let us know. Please check that website. Follow all our Facebook and social media pages. We do post updates when those grant openings happen, and we all want to be a resource and help to you. Okay. If nothing else, thank you all again for coming. Thank you for joining us virtually. Please reach out, let us know how we can help you, and thank you for your work and support.